The war, if it comes, will not begin with a declaration. There will be no announcement, no warning sirens in Washington. It will begin quietly, with movement. Satellite images will show aircraft carriers shifting position. Radar will catch bombers flying longer routes than usual. Missile defense systems will appear in places where they weren't yesterday. And somewhere in Tehran, someone will notice. Because in modern warfare, the attack begins long before the first missile is fired. Before a single bomb drops, the United States would aim to reshape the battlefield. This phase is invisible to most of the world. Cyber units probe Iran's digital nervous system, communications, radar, command networks, lines of code replace bullets. Signals flicker, systems lag, data goes dark. At the same time, American intelligence agencies intensify surveillance. Drones loiter at the edge of Iranian airspace. Satellites track missile launchers, air defense batteries, underground facilities. Every movement is logged, every pattern memorized. The goal is simple: see everything, be seen nowhere. This is the calm before impact. If the order is given, the opening strike would not target cities. It would target eyes and ears. Iran's air defense network, radars, command centers, missile batteries would be the first to feel the shock. Cruise missiles launched from the US submarines and destroyers would fly low, hugging terrain, avoiding detection. Stealth aircraft would cross borders undetected, releasing precision-guided weapons. The objective is not destruction, it's paralysis. Confusion spreads, orders don't reach units, screens go blank. For Iran, the sky becomes uncertain. For the US, the clock starts ticking. Once defenses are weakened, the next wave focuses on strategic targets, missile bases, drone launch sites, command headquarters, facilities tied to nuclear and advanced weapons program. These strikes would be calculated, not overwhelming, not symbolic. Each target is chosen for what it removes from Iran's options. Long-range bombers may never even enter Iranian airspace, releasing standoff weapons from hundreds of miles away. Fighter jets strike and disappear before defenses can react. The message is deliberate. We can reach what we want when we want, but this phase carries a risk because Iran is not helpless. No American war plan assumes silence from Tehran. The Pentagon would expect retaliation, fast and asymmetric. Ballistic missiles launched toward regional bases, drone swarms aimed at ships, proxy forces activated across the Middle East. This is why US missile defenses would already be in place, Patriot and THAAD systems standing alert, naval fleets spread out to reduce vulnerability. Every incoming threat becomes a test, not just of technology, but of escalation control, because each intercepted missile buys time, each successful defense delays the next decision. At this point, the conflict stands at a crossroads. If Iran absorbs the blows and limits its response, the US may pause, declaring objectives achieved. But if retaliation escalates, if shipping lanes are threatened, if allies are struck, if casualties rise, then the campaign widens. More targets, more sorties, longer nights. What began as a limited strike risks becoming a regional war. Despite the firepower, America's strategy would likely avoid invasion. No marching armies, no occupation. Why? Because Iran is vast, populated, prepared. Instead, the strategy centers on pressure without permanence. Hit hard, hit fast. Force or recalculation. The goal isn't conquest, it's leverage. This wouldn't look like Iraq or Afghanistan. This would be remote warfare, dominated by air, sea, space, and cyberspace. A conflict measured in sorties and severe outages, in intercepted missiles and disrupted signal. Even a limited strike carries unlimited consequences. Oil markets would react instantly, alliances would be tested, rivals would watch closely. Every move would echo far beyond Iran's borders. The most dangerous part of this scenario isn't the weapons, it's the uncertainty. Because once the first strike lands, control begins to slip. Decisions are made faster, information becomes incomplete, emotions rise, and history has shown wars rarely stay contained to the plans that start them. If the United States ever attacks Iran, it won't be loud at first. It will be methodical, calculated, designed to dominate without drowning the region in fire. But in a region already balanced on the edge, even the most precise strike can tip the scales. And once that happens, there is no rewind, only escalation or restraint, and the world will be watching which path is chosen. And then the silence. After the strikes, after the headlines, after the world exhales, there is a pause where no one speaks because no one knows what comes next. Radar screens stay lit through the night, missile crews remain at their post, fighter jets sit fueled on runways, engines cold but ready. In Tehran, decisions are being weighed that cannot be undone. In Washington, the question is no longer whether the strike worked, but what it has awakened. Because wars don't always escalate immediately, sometimes they wait. Days pass, markets stabilize, commentators move on, and then, without warning, a drone appears over the sea. A missile launches from an unknown location. A proxy moves where it shouldn't. The conflict returns, quieter, smarter, deadlier. This is how modern war breathes, not in explosions, but in pressure, not in chaos, but in patience. Every side believes the other will blink first. Every delay tightens the noose. And somewhere between restraint and retaliation, a single miscalculation becomes history. Because once the red lines are crossed, they are never redrawn. The attack may end tonight, the consequences will not. And in a world armed with precision, speed and pride, peace is no longer the absence of war. It is merely the pause before the next strike. The night stretches on. Screens glow in underground bunkers. Voices are kept low. No one wants to be the person who speaks too soon, because restraint is fragile. One radar misread, one order misunderstood, one launch detected too late, and suddenly the pause collapses. In the Persian Gulf, ships drift farther apart than usual. In the skies, aircraft fly with transponders dark. Across the region, forces move, but never explain why. This is the most dangerous moment of all. Not the strike, not the retaliation, but the waiting. History shows that wars rarely begin with intention. They begin with assumptions that the other side will hold back, that signals are understood, that red lines are obvious. But they never are. In Tehran, restraint is seen as weakness. In Washington, patience looks like risk. Both believe they are preventing a larger war by preparing for a bigger one. And the world becomes a spectator to a countdown with no clock. The first missile doesn't have to land, it only has to be believed to exist.